Hare Krishna. Welcome back, everybody, to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books, right here in the live studios in Radha Lane, just down the pathway to Sri Sri Radha Nilamadava's gorgeous temple. We're reading the Srimad-Bhagavatam. We've reached the 10th canto. We've read together the whole first 9 cantos of the Srimad-Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada has something pretty heavy to say about that in his preface to the Bhagavatam. He said, you do that, you become a realized soul. In other words, you know who God is, you know what His energies are. In the beginning of the Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva says, Satyam Param Dhimahi. And at the end of the Bhagavatam, at the end of the 12th canto, he says, Satyam Param Dhimahi. And there are rules in the Vedas that describe how to determine what is the actual main subject of a book that may have many subjects. And this is the main one. If it's mentioned in the beginning and if it's mentioned in the end. And because the Bhagavatam mentions all the way through, it's even stronger. Krishna is the subject, to prove that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Param Satyam Param Dhimahi, and that all other, everything else, including the incarnations, everything includes everything, including His incarnations, are all emanating from Krishna. So this is our great fortune. We're able to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam and find out the details, enough details about Krishna. There's 335 chapters, and 90 of those chapters deal directly about the pastimes of Krishna. And many other chapters mention Him throughout the book. So Krishna came Himself and revealed to Arjuna and the world that He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Bhagavad Gita. And now Vyasadeva, on the order of Narada Muni, is commenting on the Vedanta Sutra. Which describes the Absolute Truth. So we are associating with the Absolute Truth. We're finding out who the Absolute Truth is, what are His potencies, and therefore we are so fortunate. I can't put it into words. Mahabhagya, that's the word. Mahabhagya. Greatly fortunate. Therefore, Srila Sanatana Goswami, he chose to glorify the Srimad Bhagavatam in these words, in his Sri Krishna Lila Stava. Goes like this. Sarva Shastra Dipiyusha Sarva Vedaika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kalidvandudita Ditya Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshakshadayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna Himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin Madguro Man Mahadana Man Nisadaga Mad Bhagya Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu sadutadayin atini chochatakara anamunchakadachin mam premdarit kantayaspura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So we've reached the 10th canto, 3rd chapter, the advent of Sri Krishna. And we're going to start with text number 19. The birth of Lord Krishna. O my Lord, learned Vedic scholars conclude that the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the entire cosmic manifestation are performed by you, who are free from endeavor, unaffected by the modes of material nature, and changeless in your spiritual situation. There are no contradictions in you, who are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parabrahman. Because the 3 modes of material nature, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, are under your control, everything takes place automatically. These are the prayers being offered by Vasudeva to Krishna when he appeared. Hare Krishna. Haribo. Purport. As stated in the Vedas, Natasya karyam karanam chavidyate, natat samas cha vyabhikas chadrishyate, parasya shaktir vividai vishruyate, swabhaviki jnanabala kriya cha. The Supreme Lord has nothing to do, and no one is found to be equal to or greater than Him. For everything is done naturally and systematically by His multifarious energies. Shveta Shvatara Upanishad 6.8. Creation, maintenance, and annihilation are all conducted personally by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Maya yakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Yet ultimately, the Lord does not need to do anything, and therefore He is nirvikara, changeless. Because everything is done under His direction, He is called Shrishtikarta, the master of creation. Similarly, He is the master of annihilation. When a master sits in one place while his servants work in different duties, whatever the servants are doing is ultimately an activity of the master. Although he is doing nothing, natasya karyam karanam chavidyate. The Lord's potencies are so numerous that everything is nicely done. Therefore, He is naturally still and is not directly. Therefore, He is naturally still and is not directly the doer of anything in this material world. Text 20. My Lord, your form is transcendental to the 3 material modes. Yet for the maintenance of the 3 worlds, you assume the white color of Vishnu in goodness. For creation, which is surrounded by the quality of passion, you appear reddish, and at the end, when there is a need for annihilation, which is surrounded by ignorance, you appear blackish. Purport. Vasudeva prayed to the Lord. You are called Shuklam. Shuklam, or whiteness, is the symbolic representation of the Absolute Truth, because it is unaffected by the material qualities. Lord Brahma is called Rakta, or red, because Brahma represents the qualities of passion for creation. Darkness is entrusted to Lord Shiva, because he annihilates the cosmos. The creation, annihilation, and maintenance of this cosmic manifestation are conducted by your potencies, yet you are always unaffected by those qualities. As confirmed in the Vedas, Harir Hi Nirgunak Sakshat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is always free from all material qualities. It is also said that the qualities of passion and ignorance are non-existent in the person of the Supreme Lord. In this verse, the three colors mentioned, Shukla, Rakta, and Krishna, are not to be understood literally in terms of what we experience with our senses, but rather as representatives of Sattvaguna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. After all, sometimes we see that a duck is white, although it is in Tamoguna, the mode of ignorance. Illustrating the logic called Bhakanda Nyaya, the duck is such a fool that it runs after the testicles of a bull, thinking them to be a hanging fish that can be taken when it drops. Thus the duck is always in darkness. Vyasadeva, however, the compiler of the Vedic literature, is blackish, but this does not mean that he is in Tamoguna. Rather, he is in the highest position of Sattvaguna, beyond the material modes of nature. Sometimes these colors, Shukla, Rakta, Stata, Pita, are used to designate the celebrated, is used to designate the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Lord Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is celebrated as possessing a blackish color. Lord Shiva is whitish, and Lord Brahma is reddish. But according to Srila Sanatana Goswami in the Vaishnava Toshini Tika, this exhibition of colors is not what is referred to here. The real understanding of Shukla, Rakta, and Krishna is as follows. The Lord is always transcendental, but for the sake of creation, he assumes the color Rakta as Lord Brahma. Again, sometimes the Lord becomes angry, as he says in Bhagavad Gita 16:19, Tan aham dvishatak kruran samsareshu naradamam chipam yajastram achuban ashuri shre vajaunashu. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. To destroy the demons, the Lord becomes angry, and therefore he assumes the form of Lord Shiva. In summary, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always beyond the material qualities, and we should not be misled into thinking otherwise simply because of sense perception. One must understand the position of the Lord through the authorities, or Mahajans. As stated in the Srimad-Bhagavatam 1.3.28, Ete Chung Shakalak Pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Text 21. O my Lord, proprietor of all creation, you have now appeared in my house, desiring to protect this world. I am sure that you will kill all the armies that are moving all over the world under the leadership of politicians who are dressed as Kshatriya rulers, but who are factually demons. They must be killed by you for the protection of the innocent public. Purport. Krishna appears in this world for two purposes. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya chaduskritam. To protect the innocent, religious devotees of the Lord, and to annihilate all the uneducated, uncultured asuras who unnecessarily bark like dogs and fight among themselves for political power. It is said, Kali Kali Namo Rupe Krishna Avatara. The Hare Krishna movement is also an incarnation of Krishna in the form of the holy name, Namo Rupe. Every one of us who is actually afraid of the Asuric rulers and politicians must welcome this incarnation of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then we will surely be protected from the harassment of Asuric rulers. At the present moment, These rulers are so powerful that by hook or by crook, they capture the highest posts in government and harass countless numbers of people on the plea of national security or some emergency. Then again, one asura defeats another asura, but the public continues to suffer. Therefore, the entire world is in a precarious condition, and the only hope is this Hare Krishna movement. Lord Nrsingadev appeared when Prahlad was excessively harassed by his asuric father. Because of such asuric fathers, that is, the ruling politicians, it is very difficult to press forward the Hare Krishna movement. But because Krishna has now appeared in his holy name, through this movement, we can hope that these asuric fathers will be annihilated and the kingdom of God re-established all over the world. The entire world is now full of many asuras in the guise of politicians, gurus, sadhus, yogis, and incarnations, and they are misleading the general public away from Krishna consciousness, which can offer true benefit to human society. Text 22. O my Lord, Lord of the demigods, after hearing the prophecy that you would take birth in our home and kill him, this uncivilized Kamsa killed so many of your elder brothers. As soon as he hears from his lieutenants that you have appeared, he will immediately come with weapons to kill you. Purport. Kamsa has here been described as asabhya, meaning uncivilized, or most heinous, because he killed the many children of his sister. When he heard the prophecy that he would be killed by her eighth son, this uncivilized man, Kamsa, was immediately ready to kill his innocent sister on the occasion of her marriage. An uncivilized man can do anything for the satisfaction of his senses. He can kill children, he can kill cows, he can kill brahmanas, he can kill old men. He has no mercy for anyone. According to the Vedic civilization, cows, women, children, old men, and brahmanas should be excused if they are at fault. But asuras, uncivilized men, do not care about that. At the present moment, the killing of cows and the killing of children is going on unrestrictedly, and therefore this civilization is not at all human. And those who are conducting this condemned civilization are uncivilized asuras. Such uncivilized men are not in favor of the Krishna consciousness movement. As public officers, they declare without hesitation that the chanting of the Hare Krishna movement is a nuisance. Although Bhagavad Gita clearly says, Satatam kirtyanto mam yatantascha dvidavrataha. According to this verse, it is the duty of the Mahatmas to chant the Hare Krishna mantra and try to spread it all over the world to the best of their ability. Unfortunately, society is in such an uncivilized state that there are so-called Mahatmas who are prepared to kill cows and children and stop the Hare Krishna movement. Such uncivilized activities were actually demonstrated in opposition to the Hare Krishna movement's Bombay center, Hare Krishna land. As Kamsa was not expected to kill the beautiful child of Devaki and Vasudeva, the uncivilized society, although unhappy about the advancement of the Krishna consciousness movement, cannot be expected to stop it. Yet we must face many difficulties in many different ways. Although Krishna cannot be killed, Vasudeva, as the father of Krishna, was trembling because in affection he thought that Kamsa would immediately come and kill his son. Similarly, although the Krishna consciousness movement and Krishna are not different and no asuras can check it, we are afraid that at any moment the asuras can stop this movement in any part of the world. Text 23. Shukadeva Goswami continued, therefore, having seen that her child had all the symptoms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Devaki, who was very much afraid of Kamsa, and unusually astonished, began to offer prayers to the Lord. Purport. The word suvismita, meaning astonished, is significant in this verse. Devaki and her husband, Vasudeva, were assured that their child was the Supreme Personality of Godhead and could not be killed by Kamsa. But because of affection, as they thought of Kamsa's previous atrocities, they were simultaneously afraid that Krishna would be killed. This is why the word suvismita has been used. Similarly, we are all astounded upon thinking of whether this movement will be killed by the asuras or will continue to advance without fear. Text 24. Sri Devaki said, "My dear Lord, there are different Vedas, some of which describe you as unperceivable through words and the mind. Yet you are the origin of the entire cosmic manifestation. You are Brahman, the greatest of everything, full of effulgence, like the sun. You have no material cause. You are free from change and deviation, and you have no material desires. Thus the Vedas say that you are the substance. Therefore, my Lord, you are directly the origin of all Vedic statements, and by understanding you, one gradually understands everything. You are different from the light of Brahman and Paramatma, yet you are not different from them. Everything emanates from you. Indeed, you are the cause of all causes, Lord Vishnu, the light of all transcendental knowledge." Purport. Vishnu is the origin of everything, and there is no difference between Lord Vishnu and Lord Krishna, because both of them are Vishnu Tattva. From the Rig Veda, we understand, Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. The original substance is the all-pervading Lord Vishnu, who is also Paramatma and the effulgent Brahman. The living entities are also part and parcel of Vishnu, who has various energies, Parasya, Shaktir, Vividaiva, Shruyate, Swabhaviki, Jnanabala Kriya Cha. Vishnu or Krishna is therefore everything. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 10:8, Ahang sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartate. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. Krishna, therefore, is the original cause of everything. Sarva karana karanam. When Vishnu expands in his all-pervading aspect, we should understand him to be the Nirakara, Nirvishesha Brahma Jyoti. Although everything emanates from Krishna, he is ultimately a person. Aham Adir Hidevanam. He is the origin of Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, and from them many other demigods are manifested. Krishna therefore says in Bhagavad Gita 14:27, Brahmano hi pratishtaham. Brahman rests upon me. The Lord also says, Ye pyanya devata bhakta yajante shadayan vitaha tepimam evakonteya yajant avidipurvakam. Whatever a man may sacrifice to other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone, but it is offered without true understanding. Bhagavad Gita 9:23. There are many persons who worship different demigods, considering all of them to be separate gods, which in fact they are not. The fact is that every demigod and every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. Mamai Bangsho, Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta. The demigods are also in the category of living entities. They are not separate gods. But men whose knowledge is immature and contaminated by the modes of material nature worship various demigods according to their intelligence. Therefore they are rebuked in Bhagavad Gita, kamais taistaya rityajnana prapadyantenya devata, because they are unintelligent and not very advanced, and have not properly understood, considered the truth. They take to the worship of various demigods, or speculate according to various philosophies, such as the Mayavad philosophy. Krishna, Vishnu, is the actual origin of everything. As stated in the Vedas, Yasya Bhasha Sarvamidam Vibhati. The Absolute Truth is described later in Srimad-Bhagavatam 10:28-15 as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Yad Brahmajyoti Sanatanam. The Brahmajyoti is Sanatana, eternal, yet it is dependent on Krishna. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. The Brahma Samhita states that the Lord is all-pervading. Andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam. He is within this universe, and He is within the atom as Paramatma. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti koti shvashesha vasudhari vibhuti bhinam. Brahman is also not independent of Him. Therefore, whatever a philosopher may describe is ultimately Krishna, or Lord Vishnu. Sarvam kalvaminam Brahma. Sarvam kalvidam Brahma. Param Brahma Param Dhamma Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. According to different phases of understanding, Lord Vishnu is differently described, but in fact, He is the origin of everything. Because Devaki was an unalloyed devotee, she could understand that the same Lord Vishnu had appeared as her son. Therefore, after the prayers of Vasudeva, Devaki offered her prayers. She was very frightened because of her brother's atrocities. Devaki said, "My dear Lord, your eternal forms, like Narayana, Lord Rama, Shesha, Varaha, Nishinga, Vamana, Baladev, and millions of similar incarnations emanating from Vishnu, are described in the Vedic literature as original. You are original because all your forms are as incarnations are outside of this material creation. Your form was existing before this cosmic manifestation was created. Your forms are eternal and all-pervading. They are self-effulgent, changeless, and uncontaminated by the material qualities. Such eternal forms are ever cognizant and full of bliss. They are situated in transcendental goodness and are always engaged in different pastimes. You are not limited to a particular form only. All such transcendental, eternal forms are self-sufficient. I can understand that you are the Supreme Lord Vishnu. We may conclude, therefore, that Lord Vishnu is everything, although He is also different from everything. This is the Achintya Bheda Tattva philosophy. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Text 25. After millions of years, at the time of cosmic annihilation, when everything manifested and unmanifested is annihilated by the force of time, the five gross elements enter into the subtle conception, and the manifested categories enter into the unmanifested substance. At that time, you alone remain, and you are known as Ananta Sheshanaga. Purport. At the time of annihilation, the five gross elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, enter into the mind, intelligence, and false ego, ahankara, and the entire cosmic manifestation enters into the spiritual energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who alone remains as the origin of everything. The Lord is therefore known as Sheshanaga, as Adi Purusha, and by many other names. Devaki therefore prayed, after many millions of years, when Lord Brahma comes to the end of his life, the annihilation of the cosmic manifestation takes place. At that time, the 5 elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether, enter into the Mahat Tattva. The Mahat Tattva again enters by the force of time into the non-manifested total material energy. The total material energy enters into the energetic pradhan, and the pradhan enters into you. Therefore, after the annihilation of the whole cosmic manifestation, you alone remain with your transcendental name, form, qualities, and paraphernalia. My Lord, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, because you are the director of the unmanifested total energy, and the ultimate reservoir of the material nature. My Lord, the whole cosmic manifestation is under the influence of time, beginning from the moment up to the duration of the year. All act under your direction. Therefore you are the original director of everything and the reservoir of all potent energies. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Text 26. O inaugurator of the material energy, this wonderful creation works under the control of powerful time, which is divided into seconds, minutes, hours, and years. This element of time, which extends for millions of years, is but another form of Lord Vishnu. For your pastimes, you act as the controller of time, but you are the reservoir of all good fortune. Let me offer my full surrender unto your Lordship. Purport. As stated in the Brahma Samhita 552, Yach Chakshuresa Savita Sakala Grahanam Raja Samasta Sudamurti Rasheshate Jaha Yas Yagyaya Brahmati Sambritakala Chakro Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. The sun is the king of all planetary systems and has unlimited potency in heat and light. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, under whose control even the sun, which is considered to be the eye of the Lord, rotates within the fixed orbit of eternal time. Although we see the cosmic manifestation as gigantic and wonderful, it is within the limitation of Kala, the time factor. This time factor is also controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Maya yakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Prakriti, the cosmic manifestation, is under the control of time. Indeed, everything is under the control of time, and time is controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Supreme Lord has no fear of the onslaughts of time. Time is estimated according to the movements of the sun, Savita. Every minute, every second, every day, every night, every month, and every year of time can be calculated according to the sun's movements. But the sun is not independent, for it is under time's control. Brahmati Sambrita Kala Chakra. The sun moves with the Kala Chakra, the orbit of time. The sun is under the control of time, and time is controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Lord has no fear of time. The Lord is addressed here as Abhyakta Bandhu, or the inaugurator of the movements of the entire cosmic manifestation. Sometimes the cosmic manifestation is compared to a potter's wheel. When a potter's wheel is spinning, who set it in motion? Who has set it in motion? It is the potter, of course, although sometimes we can see only the motion of the wheel and cannot see the potter himself. Therefore, the Lord, who is behind the motion of the cosmos, is called Avyakta Bandhu. Everything is within the limits of time, but time moves under the direction of the Lord, who is therefore not within times limit. Text 27. No one in this material world has become free from the four principles, birth, death, old age, and disease, even by fleeing to various planets. But now that you have appeared, my Lord, death is fleeing in fear of you, and the living entities, having obtained shelter at your lotus feet, by your mercy, are sleeping in full mental peace. Purport. There are different categories of living entities, but everyone is afraid of death. The highest aim of the karmis is to be promoted to the higher heavenly planets, where the duration of life is very long. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 8:17, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Aharyad Brahmano Viduhu. 1 day of Brahma equals 1,000 times 4 each in each what? Let's do this again. I skipped a line, sorry. 1 day of Brahma equals 1,000 yugas, and each yuga consists of 4,300,000 years. Similarly, Brahma has a night of 1,000 times 4,300,000 years. In this way we may calculate Brahma's month and year, but even Brahma, who lives for millions and millions of years, Dvi Pararda Kala, must also die. According to Vedic Shastra, the inhabitants of the higher planetary systems live for 10,000 years, and just as Brahma's day is calculated to equal 4,300,000,000 of our years, 1 day of the higher planetary systems equals 6 of our months. Karmis, therefore, try for promotion to the higher planetary systems, but this cannot free them from death. Therefore, this world is called Martyaloka. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 8:16, Abrahma Bhuvanal Loka Punar Avritanorjuna. As long as one is within this material world, either on Brahmaloka or on any other loka within this universe, one must undergo the Kala Chakra of one life after another, Bhutva, Praliyate. But if one returns to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yad Gatva Na Nivartante, one need not re-enter the limits of time. Therefore, devotees who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord can sleep very peacefully with this assurance from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4:9, Tyaktva Deham Punar Janma Naiti, just like she's sleeping so peaceful in the lap of her mother. In this lap of her mother, therefore is. So if we're actually in the lap of Krishna, taking full shelter of Krishna, then we can sleep very peacefully and be free from anxiety. Tyaktva deham punar janma naiti. After giving up the present body, a devotee who has understood Krishna as he is need not return to this material world. The constitutional position for the living entity is eternity, nahanyate, hanyamane sharire, nitya shasato yam. Every living entity is eternal, but because of having fallen into this material world, one wanders within the universe, continually changing from one body to another. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Brahmanda Brahmite kon bhagyavan jeev, Guru Krishna Prasadi Poi Bhakti Lata Bij. Everyone is wandering up and down within this universe, but one who is sufficiently fortunate comes in contact with Krishna consciousness by the mercy of the spiritual master and takes to the path of devotional service. Then one is assured of eternal life with no fear of death. When Krishna appears, everyone is freed from fear of death. Yet Devaki felt, we are still afraid of Kamsa, although you have appeared as our son. She was more or less bewildered as to why this should be so, and she appealed to the Lord to free her and Vasudeva from this fear. In this connection, one may note, in this connection, it may be noted that the moon is one of the heavenly planets. From the Vedic literature, we understand that one who goes to the moon receives a life with a duration of 10,000 years in which to enjoy the fruits of pious activities. If our so-called scientists are going to the moon, why should they come back here?
Yeah.
We must conclude, without a doubt, that they have never gone to the moon. To go to the moon, one must have the qualification of pious activities. Then one may go there and live. If one has gone to the moon, why should he return to this planet, where life is of such a very short duration? Text 28. My Lord, because you dispel all the fear of your devotees, I request you to save us and give us protection from the terrible fear of Kamsa. Your form is Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Your form as Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is appreciated by yogis in meditation. Please make this form invisible to those who see with material eyes. Purport. The word dhyana jisnyam is significant in this verse because the form of Lord Vishnu is meditated upon by yogis. Dhyana vastitate dhyana vasvachitana manasa pashyanti mam yoginaha. Bhagavatam 12:13-1. Dhyana vastitate manasa pashyanti yam yoginaha. Devaki requested the Lord, who had appeared as Vishnu, to conceal that form, for she wanted to see the Lord as an ordinary child, like a child appreciated by persons who have material eyes. Devaki wanted to see whether the Supreme Personality of Godhead had factually appeared, or she was dreaming the Vishnu form. If Kamsa were to come, she thought, upon seeing the Vishnu form, he would immediately kill the child. But if he saw a human child, he might reconsider. Devaki was afraid of Ugrasena Atmaja. That is, she was afraid not of Ugrasena and his men, but of the son of Ugrasena. Thus she requested the Lord to dissipate that fear, since he is already ready to give protection, abhayam, to his devotees. My Lord, she prayed, I request you to save me from the cruel hands of the son of Ugrasena, Kamsa. I am praying to your Lordship to please rescue me from this fearful condition, because you are always ready to give protection to your servitors. The Lord has confirmed this statement in the Bhagavad Gita by assuring Arjuna, you may declare to the world, my devotee shall never be vanquished. While thus praying to the Lord for rescue, Mother Devaki expressed her motherly affection. I understand that this transcendental form is generally perceived in meditation by the great sages, but I am still afraid, because as soon as Kamsa understands that you have appeared, he might harm you. So I request that for the time being you become invisible to our material eyes. In other words, she requested the Lord to assume the form of an ordinary child. My only cause of fear from my brother Kamsa is due to your appearance. My Lord Madhusudana, Kamsa may know that you are already born. Therefore I request you to conceal this forearm form of your Lordship, which holds the four symbols of Vishnu, namely the conch shell, the disc, the club, and the lotus flower. My dear Lord, at the end of the annihilation of the cosmic manifestation, you put the whole universe within your abdomen. Still, by your unalloyed mercy, you have appeared in my womb. I am surprised that you imitate the activities of ordinary human beings, just to please your devotee. Devaki was so afraid of Kamsa that she could not believe that Kamsa would be unable to kill Lord Vishnu, who was personally present. Out of motherly affection, therefore, she requested the Supreme Personality of Godhead to disappear. Although because of the Lord's disappearance, Kamsa would harass her more and more, thinking that the child born of her was hidden somewhere, she did not want the transcendental child to be harassed and killed. Therefore, she requested Lord Vishnu to disappear. Later, when harassed, she would think of him within her mind. So many nice lessons in these purports. How to be Krishna conscious, even in danger. Text 29. O Madhusudana, because of your appearance, I am becoming more and more anxious in fear of Kamsa. Therefore, please arrange for that sinful Kamsa to be unable to understand that you have taken birth from my womb. Purport. Devaki addressed the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Madhusudana. She was aware that the Lord had killed many demons like Madhu, who were hundreds and thousands of times more powerful than Kamsa. Yet because of affection for the transcendental child, she believed that Kamsa could kill him. Instead of thinking of the unlimited power of the Lord, she thought of the Lord with affection, and therefore she requested the transcendental child to disappear. Text 30. O my Lord, you are the all-pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead, and your transcendental four-armed form, holding conch shell, disc, club, and lotus, is unnatural for this world. Please withdraw this form and become just like a natural human child, so that I may try to hide you somewhere. Purport. Devaki was thinking of hiding the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not handing him over to Kamsa, as she had all her previous children. Although Vasudeva had promised to hand over every child to Kamsa, this time he wanted to break his promise and hide the child somewhere. But because of the Lord's appearance, because of the Lord's appearance in this surprising four-armed form, he would be impossible to hide. When Akrura came to get Krishna, Yashoda hid Krishna in the house. She hid herself and she hid Krishna under her cloth. Pure love of God. Text 31. At the time of devastation, the entire cosmos, containing all created, moving, and non-moving entities, enters your transcendental body and is held there without difficulty. But now, this transcendental form has taken birth from my womb. People will not be able to believe this, and I shall become an object of ridicule. So this is the difference between Yashoda and Devaki. You know, she loves Krishna and therefore wants to save him like son, but at the same time she's afraid that Kamsa might kill him. So, because she saw Krishna, I mean, a couple of times she saw the universe inside his mouth, but she just took that as some kind of hallucination and just forgot it immediately. You know, so this is the difference in the quality of love, the mood, and the quality of love between Devaki and Yashoda. Purport. As explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, loving service to the personality of Godhead is of two different kinds: Aishvarya Purna, full of opulence, and Aishvarya Shitila, without opulence. Real love of Godhead begins with Aishvarya Stitila, simply on the basis of pure love. Primanjana churiti bhakti vilochanena santak sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yang shama sundaram achintya guna sarupam Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Brahma Samhita 5:38. Pure devotees, whose eyes are anointed with the ointment of prema, love, want to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Shyamasundar, Murlidhar, with a flute swaying in his two hands. This is the form available to the inhabitants of Vrindavan, who are all in love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Shyamasundar, not as Lord Vishnu, Narayana, who is worshipped in Vaikuntha, where the devotees admire his opulence. Although Devaki is not on the Vrindavan platform, she is near the Vrindavan platform. On the Vrindavan platform, the mother of Krishna is Mother Yashoda, and on the Mathura and Dwarka platform, the mother of Krishna is Devaki. In Mathura and Dwarka, the love for the Lord is mixed with appreciation of his opulence. But in Vrindavan, the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not exhibited. There are 5 stages of loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead: Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. Devaki is on the platform of Vatsalya. She wanted to deal with her eternal son, Krishna, in that stage of love, and therefore she wanted the Supreme Personality of Godhead to withdraw his opulent form of Vishnu. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur illuminates this fact very clearly in his explanation of this verse. Bhakti, Bhagavan, and Bhakta do not belong to the material world. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14:26. Mam chayo vyabhicharina bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatijaitan brahmabhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in the spiritual activities of unalloyed devotional service immediately transcends the modes of material nature and is elevated to the spiritual platform. From the very beginning of one's transactions in bhakti, one is situated on the transcendental platform. Vasudeva and Devaki, therefore, being situated in a completely pure devotional state, are beyond this material world and are not subject to material fear. In the transcendental world, however, because of pure devotion, there is a similar conception of fear, which is due to intense love. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavanyaschasmi tatpataha. And as confirmed in Srimad-Bhagavatam, Bhaktyaham ekaya grayaha. Without bhakti, one cannot understand the spiritual situation of the Lord. Bhakti may be considered in 3 stages, called Gunibhuta, Pradhanibhuta, and Kevala. And according to these stages, there are 3 divisions, which are called Jnana, Jnanamayi, and Rati, or Prema. That is, simple knowledge, love mixed with knowledge, and pure love. By simple knowledge, one can perceive transcendental bliss without variety. This perception is called manabhuti. When one comes to the stage of jnanamayi, one realizes the transcendental opulences of the personality of Godhead. But when one reaches pure love, one realizes the transcendental form of the Lord as Lord Krishna or Lord Rama. This is what is wanted. Especially in Madhurya Rasa, one becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Vigraha Nishta Rupadi. Then loving transactions between the Lord and the devotee begin. The special significance of Krishna's bearing a flute in his hands in Vrajabhumi, Vrindavan, is described as Madhuri Virajate. The form of the Lord with a flute in his hands is most attractive, and the one who is most sublimely attracted is Srimati Radharani, Radhika. She enjoys supremely blissful association with Krishna. Sometimes people cannot understand why Radhika's name is not mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam. Actually, however, Radhika can be understood from the word Aradhana, which indicates that she enjoys the highest loving affairs with Krishna. Not wanting to be ridiculed by having given birth to Vishnu, Devaki wanted Krishna with 2 hands, and therefore she requested the Lord to change his form. Hare Krishna. That's Mathura Vatsalya. Can see the Lord sometimes 2 hands and sometimes 4 hands. Sometimes the opulence and sometimes the love without the opulence. But Yashoda just sees the love. And even though the opulence is there, the love is so powerful that it covers the opulence. And so she doesn't even notice. Krishna's killing these demons like kids play. It's even more opulent than he's got all the weapons and he's, doing all these warlike activities. These persons who Krishna killed were not ordinary demons. These were high mystic yogis who could change their form at will and do all kinds of mystic, horrible things. And yet he was killing them with his, just throwing him into a tree or, just, with his bare hands, bifurcating their beaks and, putting his hand into the mouth of the horse and just, without any weapons at all. More opulent than Vishnu. But it still looks like an ordinary child doing it. So therefore it's sweet beyond conception. Okay, we're going to stop there. It's 7:04. Exactly an hour we've been reading. Now we'll turn it over to the assembled sages. The open mic is on. Hare Krishna. Yes, please.
Maharaj, after Brahma completes his 100 years, then does he go back to Godhead or Brahma?
Well, our Brahma does. Not every Brahma does. It depends on how he got the form of Brahma. If he got the form of Brahma from pure devotional service, then he goes back to Godhead. And not only that, but the others who are with him, they also go back to Godhead.
And Narad Muni also lives in Brahma Loka. What happens?
Narada Muni, he lives everywhere. He goes everywhere all the time. He even goes into Vaikuntha. He's not a Brajbasi. He tried once to become a gopi. Didn't work. There's a place right across from Kusum Sarovara called Nardakund. And there's a place there where he was doing his bhajan, and he met gopis and he wanted to become a gopi, so they said, okay, you bathe over here, and they bathed in this part of Kusum Sarovar, and he got the form of a gopi. I'm not sure if it's gopis that told him, I'm not sure who told him, but anyway, he got the form, and then the gopis started asking who his parents were, and let me see your hands, and all the things, and they, he got exposed, and he couldn't enter.
Guru Maharaj, you were speaking about the difference between Devaki and the moods of Devaki and Mother Yashoda. So I was wondering on what platform or what mood is Rohini? Because she's both, first she was with Vasudeva and then later she went to Vrindavan.
She's mixed.
mixed.
She's mixed. She understands the mood of the Brajbasis and is closer to the Braj mood than Devaki. Therefore, when she went to Mathura, after Kamsa was killed, then many of the persons who were hiding in different places, because that's why Rohini was also in Vrindavan, because she was hiding from Kamsa. So when Kamsa, after he was killed, then Rohini went back to Mathura and into the house of Vasudeva, because she was the wife of Vasudeva. And Devaki was very, suspicious of Rohini, because, whenever he saw Krishna and Rohini talking, then she was afraid that Krishna would get back into the mood of Braj and then run away and go back to Braj. So she was like, there were all kinds of indications about this, when it came time for Krishna to get his sacred thread, his initiation in sacred thread, there was a celebration, but the Brajbasis were not welcome. So they had their own celebration in Braj, because they were afraid that Krishna, if he mixed with the Brajbasis again, that he would go back to Braj. There's a very interesting conversation in the Bhagavatamrita towards the end of the first part, when Narada finally arrived in Dwarka and was told by Ugrasena that actually Uddhava, because he was going from person to person trying to find the devotee who had received the full mercy of Krishna, or the most mercy of Krishna. And he had gone to so many different devotees, and finally ended up in Dwarka, and he went to Ugrasena because the Pandavas had sent him there, saying, no, we're not the best devotees. You see Krishna here, he's not here. He's with his family. He's always with them. So he just comes when we get into trouble, and then he leaves. So how can we be, the most favorite devotees? You should go to the Yadus, family of Krishna. So he went there, and then Ugrasena, the king, went to the king, and he said, if you want to know who's the best devotee, you go to wherever Uddhava is, and there you will see Krishna, because they never part. They are together all the time. So anyway, he went there, and that day Krishna was stayed in the bed. He never stayed in the bed. He always got up. He always did his duties, his religious duties, just like a perfect householder. And so then, when Narada came, then Uddhava and Balaram and Rohini and the other queens of Krishna, they were on the veranda outside of Krishna's room, and they were talking about it. Why Krishna was, staying in the bed. And they could hear him crying also. He was actually crying. So then there was this whole conversation, and it developed into like two sides. Some were like favorable toward the Brajbasis, and thinking that it was because they were so dear to Krishna that he was feeling separation from them. And then there was another side that was blaming Krishna for not going back, therefore. And then there was some others who blamed the Brajbasis and because they didn't want him to go back. So anyway, there was this big conversation, and in that Rohini, took the side of the Brajbasis, showing that she was closer to the Brajbasis, Whereas Devaki, wanted him to stay there, and she didn't want to have anything to do with, fulfilling his desire to go back to Braj. Anyway, it's a long story. I can't tell the whole story, we don't have time, but it's really wonderful if you want to hear it. There's a purport in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'll tell you what it is. It's Adi Leela, chapter 5, verse 203. And in that purport, Prabhupada said, if you want to understand Krishna and Krishna devotion and Krishna consciousness, then you must read the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So it is now available in an authorized translation.
An audiobook.
Huh?
An audiobook.
Well, one volume of it is, but the two other volumes is not available yet. I'm thinking very seriously about re-recording it after I finish the Chaitanya Charitamrita and Gita and Bhagavatam and Krishna book. I'm thinking of redoing because I can read it so much nicer now than I could then. I didn't know what I was doing then. I just did it because I heard they wanted it done, so I just did it. And anyway, Hare Krishna. That's another issue.
So we pray that you may be able to do all these things.
Please give me a long enough life, all of you. This is going to take a long time. And I'm 73. My mom died when she was 79. That's only 6 years from now, for me. So 6 years, that's a stretch to get all those things done. Yes, Prana, I thought you'd never speak.
There's this one part of a purport that mentioned how Devaki wanted Krishna to disappear, even though she was attached to him, for out of that transcendental motherly affection. She didn't want him to be hurt by Kamsa. So, and it said that even though she'll get more harassed by Kamsa by that, and she's separated from Krishna, that she'll, remember him in her mind. And it made me think of this one. I was just looking for it in the first canto, chapter 10, when Krishna is departing, I guess Hastinapur, going into Dwarka. When he's departing, then I think it's the ladies of the city, they're all shedding tears, but then they check them because they say, oh, well, it'll bring inauspiciousness to his journey.
Yes.
And I thought of that because it's kind of like, even though one feels that the pure devotee, they feel such great love for Krishna, but they're able to even check that for Krishna's service.
Yes.
And for his sake.
Yes.
The Ruka is another example, his fanning.
Very nice. Thank you so much. And that's why Lord Chaitanya taught that the best method for tasting love of Krishna is in separation. Therefore, you'll never read in prayers of the 6 Goswamis, now we've seen Krishna. It's always, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Will we ever be able to see? When will that day come when we can see Krishna? That's what their prayers are. They never say, now we've seen Krishna. And usually the authorities who say that no, the most intense form is when they're with Krishna, they usually are in another mood. They're in another mood of enjoying with Krishna. They're not in the mood of serving, Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya taught us the way to Goloka Vrindavan is to serve Krishna and serve him, who's Krishna and Radharani together, by preaching and spreading and taking the difficulty and cultivating the feeling of separation while we're chanting and while we're serving. And then that mentality, that mood, takes us into a deeper absorption. And it's more intense feeling. Therefore, the most intense form of ecstasy is called Vichit. Somebody know it? Vichit. I forget the Sanskrit term. It just escapes me. Maybe it'll come back as I describe it. But, no. That's a general. This is a specific form of separation in which the devotee, in anticipation of Krishna leaving, even when the devotee is with Krishna physically, then the feeling of separation becomes the anticipation of separation, becomes so intense that Krishna disappears from the sight of the devotee, even though he's right there. Vichit? No, it's saying, anyway, I can't remember the Sanskrit, but that's the description of what it means. That's our mood. That's the mood of Rupa Goswami, Lord Chaitanya. Prema Vaicitya. I knew it was Prema Vaicitya. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Is that what happened in the story of, I'm not stopping, but in the pastime of Srimati Radharani and seeing the bumblebee?
Yeah. But it's more, the more direct one is when she was with Krishna in Prem Sarovara, and Madhumangal was there, and there was a bumblebee that was bothering Radharani, going around her face like this, you know how it is, bumblebee around your face, you just want to. So then Madhumangal saw that and then got a stick and chased the bumblebee far away, way far away. And then he came back and said, don't worry, Madhusudana is gone, he'll never come back. And she took, because Madhusudana is one of Krishna's names, and it's also a name of bumblebee. So she thought, oh, Krishna's gone and he's never coming back. And Krishna's right there, he's sitting right next to him. And then he disappeared from her sight, and she felt the topmost feelings of love, separation. And in the material world even, they have a saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. But it's transcendental conception in spiritual world. It's beyond that conception. Because it happens sometimes when Krishna is present. Honest John is going to give us an honest report.
I like this verse.
Oh, please.
This one has caught me. No one in the material world has become free from the four principles of birth, death, and old age and disease, even by fleeing to various planets. But now that you have appeared, my Lord, death is fleeing in fear of you, and the living entities have obtained shelter at your lotus feet. By your mercy are sleeping in full mental peace. I thought that was a real beautiful verse there. I like that.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. That's why I looked, and as soon as I read that verse, I looked at her and I saw her sleeping so peacefully in the lap of her mother. But before it was like, she's just, restless, and then as soon as she hit the mother's lap, boom, she was out. That was it. Then she was peaceful because she is taking shelter.
It's very comforting.
Yeah, take full shelter. If you take full shelter of Krishna, then you become peaceful. And without taking full shelter of Krishna, you cannot be peaceful. That's a fact. Full shelter of Krishna means there's nothing else. And you still may be in the world, and you still may have relationships, and you still may do all your things, but you're peaceful doing it. That's what this is about. Because, the Bhagavatam, even the Rasa Shastra of the Goswamis, that from their realization, they give even more details of the relationships and the exchanges and everything in Braj, in Goloka Vrindavan. But it's all based on the Bhagavatam. It's all based on the Bhagavatam. Satsandarbhas. Jiva Goswami's explanation of the Bhagavatam. So the Bhagavatam is everything. Everything's there. It's just you have to go deep. And I'm praying that just by doing this, year after year after year after year, we'll get a little drop and taste what it means to go deep, and not just to be be on the surface, just skating around on the surface. Go deep and want to know Krishna more, want to be with Krishna to the point where you have to be with Krishna, and you cannot live for another second without being with Krishna. Then Krishna will appear. Oh, all right, if you insist, here I am. And you can't see him any other way. Unless he chooses you, you cannot see Krishna. Not that it's not on your strength. And that's also the defect of the Sahaja Sampradayas and all these personalities who don't want to become the servants of the servants of the servants of the servants. They just want to get right next to Krishna and enjoy with him. That's the defect.
Is it possible to
what you were just saying about the defect of the Sahaja path, where everything is so-called easily obtainable, is it possible to heal from that? Once you are in there, can you
by
rise above?
association? If you associate with pure devotee and accept the pure devotee and associate with pure devotees, then yes, they're better than the Mayavadis because they accept Krishna. So they're better than the Mayavadis, but they have to wait because of their offenses. There was a nice explanation of this by Prabhupada in Vrindavan. There's an ashram just in back of the property of Krishna Balaram Mandir. I can't remember the exact name of it, but they chant this concocted, Nitai Sham Radhai. Nitai Gaur Radhe Sham Hare Krishna Hare Rama, something like that. Yeah. And it's made up of all bona fide names, but it's put together in the wrong way, according to our acharyas, according to the line of acharya. And so they've asked Prabhupada, so they're chanting the same names as we are, just in a different order. Will they go back to Godhead? And Prabhupada said yes, after 700 births. That's what he said, direct. Because they're offending. They're doing all kinds of things to offend the holy names. What to speak of not chanting the names according to Lord Chaitanya's instruction. Because you can't get Krishna consciousness, get this through your heads. You can't get to Krishna, to Radha Krishna, except through Lord Chaitanya. You have to follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya and the followers of Lord Chaitanya in order to get to Radha Krishna. You cannot. It's not possible in the Kali Yuga.
He's he's not the gate, but he
Hare
shows
Krishna,
the way.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam, Nasteva, 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 Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Gatranyata. You can't get the goal, which is Radha and Krishna, except through chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in the Kali Yuga and following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Chaitanya's followers.
So what about the...
Therefore, you have to learn. We tend to go, we want to go farther into intimate things, but I'm just reading in Chaitanya Charitamrita teachings to Sanatana Goswami, and right now in this section we recorded today. By the way, we did 38 pages. Yeah, and if I do 39 that's why you don't see me anymore, because I'm trying to get to the end of the Madhya Lila before I leave on the 15th. And if I do 39 pages every day between now and then I'll get there. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, he's talking about the Vishnu forms. And there's all these verses saying in which hands all the different, the chak and the... In other words, there's just a knowledge of the Lord in all of his aspects. And the pure devotees want to hear those things and be purified. They don't skip over things that don't seem to be nectar. That was why I chose to recite this prayer of Sanatana Goswami, because Sanatana Goswami got instructed by Lord Chaitanya for 2 months straight. And he got all the details, and you have to go through these details. You have to learn these things. You have to become comfortable and understand them. You should be able to explain them. And then you get to know Krishna. And then by getting to know Krishna, then you can become more intimate. Then you can get to love Krishna. Then Krishna will become interested. If you just want to go right to the Rasa dance and you're not interested in learning about him and finding out who he is and what he does and why we should worship him. It's not that we should worship him because he's the supreme lover and I want to be his lover and therefore that's it. That's why I want to worship him. That's not why I want to worship. We worship him because we everything that we have, everything that we do, everything that we have for living is given by him. He's the supreme absolute truth. Satyam Padam Dhimahi. Therefore, the beginning of the Bhagavatam, at the end of the Bhagavatam, throughout the Bhagavatam, this truth is, hammered into our hearts.
So what about Mirabai?
What are you talking about? What does Mirabai have anything to do with anything?
Well, sorry if I'm not
Mirabai
clear.
is famous
Yes.
in Vrindavan and other places. And she met Rupa Goswami. She never met Rupa Goswami. There's nothing in our Shastra. There's no history where she ever met Rupa Goswami. So she may be an advanced devotee. That's okay. But we are in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are in the line of the 6 Goswamis at Vrindavan. What about this? Well, what about them over there? And what about? It's like you have the gem in your hand. You have the full thing. And you're thinking about, what about them? And that will just put doubts in people's hearts, and it'll put doubts in your own heart. Or maybe I can get the same thing by going with Mirabai, because she makes it sound easier. No. You have to go through the Goswamis. You have to go through Srila Prabhupada.
Sure.
All the weight of all the previous acharyas are coming through the purport of Srila Prabhupada. So if you start saying, what about Mirabai? Where do you see Mirabai in Prabhupada's purports?
No, I understand. I mean, at least I
Is
think
Mirabai mentioned in any of Prabhupada's purports?
not that I remember.
Is Mirabai mentioned in any of the Rasa Shastras of the 6 Goswamis? Zip. Nothing. Not one syllable. So then when you say, well, what about Mirabai? What does that mean? That means you've heard from other things, you've heard from other groups, you've heard from other people. And therefore, and it's not clean, it's not correct.
It's not authorized.
Not authorized.
No. The reason I brought it up, it sounded probably very impotent. It's like we meet people when we worship, even in the big Kirtan festival like this. Maybe there will be followers of this, followers of that, and we all sing the same mantra. But if you get to know them, you'll find, they're from Guruji this, or they're from Mirabai, or they walk around with Laddu Gopal on their head, or they're from South India and they worship Shri, or something. There's like
so
many.
Confused.
No, I'm not confused.
I know you're not. I'm saying, don't go there.
Yeah. No.
That's why I'm trying to do this. Prabhupada's books will take you there. They're clean. There's nothing in them that's not in the line from right to Lord Chaitanya and Radha and Krishna. That's it.
So we basically say yeah, and then we give them Prabhupada's books. Like, this is very nice.
You probably can't give them Prabhupada's books mainly. Maybe you can. If you can, fine. My philosophy is to invest your energy where there's receptivity. And if someone already thinks that you can get, Krishna Prema, in a way other, and maybe you can, but that's not our line. Prabhupada saved me. Prabhupada saved me. Why should I think of anyone else? Why should I go anywhere else? Prabhupada saved me. And I know God brothers and God sisters are over there and all these other things, and they look back on ISKCON and the very movement that saved them, and they criticize. Sorry. That's love. Chaitanya Charitamrita describes love. Even if there's reason to leave, you don't leave if there's real love. Even if someone does something that warrants leaving, you don't leave. That's real love. Therefore, these people don't want to read the books. If you get down into it, you get to know that they think that reading books is wrong. It's for neophytes. They're no longer neophytes. Therefore, they don't need books. They don't need mantras. They just need to think of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, or Gopal and whatever. They don't want to go through the standard process. There's a standard process for doing everything. There's a standard process for becoming purified and qualified to go to Radha and Krishna. And you cannot do it unless you go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. And hardly anybody in our movements and reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita anymore. And it's all there. It's all there. Clear as day. Clear as a bell. No if, ands, or buts. No, there's not one word in Prabhupada's purports. Maybe. What if? What about them? The words don't exist. It's clear, crystal clear. You associate with these books, learn them, learn to explain them as they are, without all these other things coming in. It happened even when Prabhupada was here, influenced from other groups from India. He was ready to, at 1970, when he found out that this philosophy was going on, he was ready to stop the whole movement and start again from scratch. That would have been a really big thing. But he was so powerful, he was able to, carry on and remove these elements.
Pranhar, you had something?
Just briefly, I know we're over time.
You got -5 minutes, go ahead.
There's that really nice purport where Prabhupada was talking about how having that fear, that transcendental fear about Krishna, although partly, she knew, Devaki and Vasudeva knew Krishna cannot be killed, but they still had that affection for Krishna, therefore they were afraid for his welfare. And Prabhupada was comparing it to the Krishna consciousness movement, ISKCON,
Yes.
and how he understands that it's Lord Chaitanya's will that Krishna consciousness will spread all over the world, but still the experience of concern and anxiety over the movement is there.
Yes.
And I thought that was a very, very profound point.
Very profound.
Because it really shows just the mood of what it means to be a devotee. Devotee doesn't mean to just be, carefree
Sentimental.
and sentimental and wanting to merge into some sort of peaceful, voidistic sleeping state or something like that. But it's actual, as you were just mentioning about this love that is the fire in the heart that's inspiring the devotee to keep on serving and experience this anxiety. That anxiety is a symptom of that actual caring, and I really appreciate that because I think that intensity of concern and care is needed on all levels by individuals, collectively, for
therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement that was established by Srila Prabhupada spread the movement all over the world. Not until Prabhupada translated the Gita and the Bhagavatam and distributed them all over the world did anybody become pure devotee of Krishna. No one. That's Lord Chaitanya's movement. Caring for others, that's to your point. The movement is to care for others. Never mind me. Janmani, Janmani. Bhavatit Bhakti Haitaki Toi.
And I also feel like the most advanced devotees in our movement are those who have stayed in ISKCON, who have given their lives to serving ISKCON, given their lives to keep spreading the movement, distributing Prabhupada's books, reading Prabhupada's books, teaching others how to read and distribute Prabhupada's books.
And making other devotees, making other people Krishna conscious. It's not just about me and Krishna, and my relationship with Krishna. And there's a potency that one needs to do that. And that potency comes from Lord Chaitanya. Krishna Shakti, Nahi. Krishna Shakti,
Krishna Shakti
Vina Nahi Tava Pravartan. Yeah, without becoming empowered by Krishna, you cannot spread Krishna consciousness. And many places in Prabhupada's books, he says how there are pseudo-Vaishnavas, they call them Kali Chelas, and they criticize the devotees who are actually spreading Krishna consciousness and making other people devotees, and they make so many excuses. Oh, they're Westerners, they don't know anything, they're not pure, we'll become contaminated by associating with them. And then as soon as, Prabhupada brought back the Westerners, full-time Westerners to India, the whole thing exploded. But right now, I gotta go. It's 20 minutes to 8. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your lovely questions and inspiring that conversation. And please, let us make pure devotees, spread the movement to the indigenous people of this land, which is in so much trouble. Hare Krishna. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Devaki, prayers of Devaki ki jai. Prayers of Vasudeva for Krishna ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. See you tomorrow at 6 o'clock, same time, same place, same station. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.